When these young studs are fighting these veterans, the concern is that the veteran has some funky stuff, some weird aspects of how he moves that are unfamiliar. So you just want to keep it nice and simple if you're Gino.
But then there is, you know, there's such a gap here in terms of experience that, you know, we might see play out in interesting ways, like what you were saying, Robin. So Van Steenis is in the full orange shorts. Rodriguez is in the black and orange. We'll have 3 rounds of 5 minutes.
Great calf kick from Van Steenis to start with.
Smart.
And he starts with it right away. You get 2 or 3 of those, you're done.
Yeah, and you look at the body shape. I mean, those are thin calves that Hyram has.
That was another one, and it echoed through the arena here. That it might not have looked hard on the picture, but the sound of it.
You know, the calf kick became a, you know,
might be a little eye poke.
Yeah, that's rough. The calf kick became sort of a popular thing for people to notice and talk about 2, 3, 4 years ago in MMA. But, you know, Muay Thai, they've gone down that road many times and back, and they're actually pretty dangerous on the kicker. You know, you gotta be careful.
It's always my worst nightmare that you get checked like that in the worst possible way. But I think for MMA, especially because the distance is a little longer, the calf kick is even better than in kickboxing because you're closer to each other.
Yep. And we're having a doctor just pop in quickly to give Rodriguez an eye check.
Around 2015, MMA started to appear to fight a lot more at distance. People moved their feet more. The Stephen Thompsons and the people who did a lot of circular movement, they were fighting outside longer. So suddenly, the longest weapon, my foot, against your nearest target, your calf, was just there all the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And especially fighting that way is easier on your own body because you're not in an all-out war all the time. You know what I mean? Picking someone apart from the outside is better for you.
It's a much nicer night.
Nicer, for sure.
It's a much nicer night on the body.
And the doctor has cleared Rodriguez, so we are getting back to the action now. Show of respect between the 2 fighters for what was an accident that happens. This is combat sports.
I literally thought there was 0% that he wouldn't continue. Hyram will 100% go.
Straight back to it, though. Another great calf kick, and you saw him switch his stance immediately.
You know, people hear about this. There is a nerve that travels down that leg. And when that nerve gets traumatized at the foot, you can't control your foot even properly, right?
You can't move your foot anymore.
Yeah.
Your body, your leg just gives. You can't move it anymore.
You can see he's trying to push in, and he's already having trouble. 1 minute and 45 seconds, 1 minute and 15 seconds in, 3 calf kicks.
His right leg.
Yep. He's smart. He's saying, "I'll still kick with it," but you know, that's a lie. It's a lie you try to tell your opponent that you're not hurt. And that nerve extends up. So he just hit at the insertion above the knee. That nerve travels up there too.
That nerve goes to the brain as well, telling you that it really, really hurts.
That's right. It goes all the way to the spine and the brain, sending electricity up there.
And we might find a moment as well where Van Steenis starts to, you know, maybe fake that low kick in order to elicit a reaction and then, you know, move that into a different strike.
And he's got that athleticism to throw the front kick right up over the shoulder too.
Rodriguez is focused on his legs now, especially the calf kicks. Of course, I want to see Van Steenis throw his hands a little more, even if it just feints to set things up. And just like this.
Yeah. He must have been hearing you there, Stefan.
He's got great coaches, so great minds think alike. Let's say it like that.
And it does look here, Van Steenis is controlling the middle of the cage, controlling the action, landing the more dominant strike so far.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Hyram's like, okay, yeah.
And that's why we love Rodriguez, gets that, and he's just gritty, bites down, and comes straight back in.
You know, forever, as long as he fights, we're going to mention the night he put the sandwich down to fight Bertal.
His legs seem to give a little bit over there. He seemed to like fall to his right a little bit. You cannot put weight on your foot anymore after a bunch of calf kicks, especially what we talked about with the nerve. When that gets damaged, it gets really tough to move around.
And think of how smart this is just strategically. You're the younger, more agile, more, you know, with more mobility, and you take the older guy and you make him even less mobile by kicking out the sticks.
Oh, very smart. And he did the same thing in his last fight. He's very patient. He takes his time. He doesn't just rush in and tries to finish him off. He really picks him apart. It's beautiful to see.
And he makes it so that you're less dangerous when he's going to open up with the hands. That you are less dangerous. You're less connected to the ground. Oh, there's a good ripper from Rodriguez.
There's no quit in Rodriguez. No, he'll never quit. Not without a fight.
But yeah, now it's hands, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's looking like Van Steenis is just upping the ante a little bit here to put the pressure on Rodriguez.
You'll see him land or throw a few punches, and then he'll just bounce just a little bit out and on an angle. Watch for it here. Throw a couple punches, and then he'll just bounce out where he's not going to get hit. And then sometimes he'll re-enter with a couple more.
He's got all that fight experience. He's been in there so many times, been through so many situations, different situations. He knows what to do when things are thrown at him.
And like you said, you can see the little bit of wobble on the legs of Rodriguez from all those kicks. But if he was going to turn this around, Stefan, how does Rodriguez, get out of this just being pieced up slowly and walk down?
He needs to pressure Van Steenis. Doesn't matter how difficult it is. If you keep going backward, especially against a taller fighter, you're going to get picked apart for 3 rounds if you survive. But if you want to do something in this fight, you got to pressure him. You got to make it a dogfight.
Yeah, and that's a risk, but it appears riskier, but in the long run, it's actually less risky than going backwards for another 10 minutes.
Those are some big shots.
He's got to come forward. Great strikes by Van Steenis.
And Hyram throws one right hand, just enough to stop him for a moment. But
now
great job. Oh,
yes,
nice.
Beautiful takedown.
We're at the end of the first round.
Unfortunately, that takedown at the end probably won't change the outcome of that round in any sense. It most likely got to go to Van Steenis. But like you were saying, Stefan, that little bit at the end where Rodriguez got in Van Steenis' face, he scored the takedown. Is that how he should look for the further rounds?
It's going to give him confidence for the other rounds, just right at the end. It may not do much for him in this round, but he's going to come out the second round and be like, hey, I closed the distance, I went forward, I got in a clinch situation, I had a beautiful throw, I came on top, I got to do this now.
Yeah.
It's the only way for him.
And Robin, how did you see Van Steenis in that round? What did you like?
I mean, when you see all these punches, you see the athleticism of the young man. These are athletic expressions of violence, right? But then when you see the first 2 minutes, you see the intelligence of the young man, chopping away at the legs, slowing him down. Those punches are easier to throw at a guy standing on one leg. So it's a combination of skill, athleticism, and smarts. It's a really great round for Gino.
And it's our third fight and the first to get out of the first round. And what a beautiful tactical sight that was.
There's also, with Hyram, and I noticed this against Martel, too. There was a moment where he got mad. He's like, this guy keeps hitting me. And he's mad, and he fights back hard, and he wins the phrase. When he stops thinking and just fights viscerally, he does well. He does very well. So if he can find a minute or two like that, like he found at the end of round 1, he can end up on top elbowing this kid.
So we are in round number 2. Each round is 5 minutes long. Van Steenis is in the full orange trunks, Rodriguez in the black and orange. And it seems like the round has started pretty much how the first round went, Stefan, with Van Steenis just standing back, piecing up Rodriguez a little bit and attacking his lead leg.
Yeah, that's the way he wants the fight to go, but what we just talked about, Rodriguez needs to create chaos. Chaos is going to be good for him in this fight. Just like this, when there's not a lot going on, Van Steenis can choose his shots, can pick him apart from the outside, go at him, make it a war. Throw whatever you think about at him and see what happens.
Yeah, just, color outside the lines a little bit, which is kind of what he's trying to flash here. I did a piece with George St. Pierre in Canada, and I asked him, if you were fighting Conor McGregor, a dangerous southpaw, how would you fight him? Now, I'm not suggesting Hyram is Conor McGregor, but he's a southpaw that you're trying to stay away from his left hand. George was like, I'll stay at distance. If he does attack, I'll draw and hit. If he doesn't attack, I'll kick his calf until he does. It was just a simple how to fight a southpaw, and that's really what Gino's doing. If you stay out here, I'm going to wreck your legs. If you come in, I'll make you go first and I'll counter.
And he's definitely making use of his, physical advantages as well, the build of his body, his height, his extra reach, and just staying, far enough distance away from Rodriguez.
He's fighting a smart fight, but also the things he says about himself, that he wants to go to the UFC or Bellator, when someone like Rodriguez is put in your way, you got to show that that's your future.
You're right.
You got to finish this guy.
Yep. Yeah,
Picking
no,
him
you are
apart, we all know how good you are, but we want to show that next step.
Yep. Yeah, and you can set that up. If you went in the back and you talked to him and Costello and they said, we're going to smash his legs for 7.5 minutes and then we're going to take him out. Okay, the first part's done. Yep, the first part's done. And that's the second time Hyram has thrown an inside crescent kick. Yeah, love it. And against an orthodox fighter, that's actually a great technique to throw.
And that might be some of those old crafty veterans tricks you were talking about at the beginning of the fight, Robin.
Yeah, he's now attacking the front of the quadriceps, and now again back out to the round side. So he's smashing the wheel from as many angles as he can.
So he's seen some big shots from Van Steenis coming in. He's still hitting that leg. Just under 2 minutes left to go in this round. We wanted to see Van Steenis up the ante a little bit here, Stefan.
Yeah, he switched from the calf kicks to the oblique kicks, and I haven't seen him throw a calf kick for a while now. And it's a dangerous kick for your opponent, but also for yourself. So I wonder if you hurt his shin or his foot.
Yeah, we talked about that in the first round. You're still bludgeoning the hard part of a guy's body with the hard part of yours, right? And when you do that, people don't realize it all hurts. They think the punch to the mouth hurts, the kick to the forearm hurts, the knee hitting the thigh hurts. It all hurts. And yeah, Gino could have just taken a little weird shot, and now he's coming down on a downward angle instead.
He's doing well with the oblique kicks though. Rodriguez needs to step in, but we've said that before. That's what he needs to do anyway. He needs to close the distance fast, throw big bumps, and maybe look for those takedowns again, which he had on the end of round one.
Yeah, that was timing.
His knee may be damaged now too.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of effectively bent back against the joint there.
Yeah, it hyperextends the knee too, and that's what you want to do after.
Does so much damage.
Yeah, the hyperextension on the knee, the damage on the insertion of the quadricep, the calf, it's just all smashed up. Like it's a wheelchair or a crutch tomorrow for sure.
And it may be the best defense against someone who wants to rush in.
Yeah.
When you want to rush in and you get an oblique kick on your leg,
it storks your leg.
Stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, stork. I don't know if storking is actually like a real verb, but if you think
I like it.
Storks it. And that's what he's doing. He's
keep
storking him. Yeah, keep storking him in the knee. But again, to your point, and not a criticism, we don't criticize martial artists. It's a crazy thing every one of these guys are doing. But yeah, you're right. When you are the one saying, I want to, be somebody that everybody needs to see, you know that now in the third you go in and you close the show.
Yeah.
And if you didn't catch that on TV, on the screen at the end there, as soon as the bell was rung, Rodriguez moved in a way that showed his knee is not doing well. A little hop and a little step. Yeah. And he received a full lot of stalking in that round.
There's no hiding that after those oblique kicks and the calf kicks in the first round. But I really want to see a finish from Steenis in the first round and in the third round, because we all know that he can beat Rodriguez. We all know he's a better fighter.
Yeah. Especially 10 minutes in, we have 10 minutes of evidence that says so.
Yeah, and now we see in this third and final round where Van Steenis is almost definitely up on points, even though you never can tell with judges. But we do want him to put a little bit of rev into his engine. So we're entering our third and final round. We have 5 more minutes to see who comes out top in this bout. Van Steenis is in the orange trunks, Rodriguez in the black and orange. And Van Steenis picking up right where he left off there.
Continues his violent, vicious storking of his leg.
And he can keep doing what he's doing, but I would love to see him follow up with the hands, because he's shown us what he can do with his hands in the first round. So,
and would it alter how much power Rodriguez is able to generate with the shots now? His right leg is effectively compromised.
100%. Like if your feet aren't properly planted on the ground, you cannot throw powerful shots. Especially when your leg's damaged, it's very hard to generate power. It starts from the bottom and then it comes out on top.
Yeah, and when you think of it as like grade 11 physics, you're transferring energy from the ground through your body and out the knuckles. Whether your feet can, how your feet are touching the ground is part of it, and then how they connect to the ground. So if there'll be an energy bleed through the lower leg and the knee and the hip. So you just can't build the forces necessary to land the biggest punch like you could 10 minutes ago or 11 minutes ago.
Yeah, so Van Steenis has spent the best part of 2 and a bit rounds just taking the sting out of Rodriguez, removing his ability to generate as much power as he would have been able to at the start.
He's still showing it. And good for him. Good for Hyram. Hyram's tough to take out. And for anybody, you know, that's the other thing. Myrtle couldn't take him out either, you know?
No.
Myrtle is one of the great strikers of the last 20 years. Oh, yeah, that's a rough. And he couldn't finish him either. So there's something in what he shows where you sense still a little more danger than you want to deal with.
Oh, and that knee is getting an absolute battering from Van Steenis here.
It's a beautiful kick, but I also hate them.
Yeah, they're
damage
awful
they
too.
do,
Yeah,
like,
they're terrible.
I'm always happy when both fighters leave the cage doing well,
Yeah.
but his knee is taking a beating.
Yes. In the end, when we, you know, that is 100% legal. Is it a little dirty in the air quotes way? Sure. But your number one responsibility is to you, your body, your family, your future. And if you gotta stork a guy's leg all night to protect those things, you're in danger in a fight every minute. So.
Oh, nice little combination using his hands there from Van Steenis.
It's Costello.
Rodriguez is so tough. So tough.
Like we said, man, just a gritty fighter, just no ounce of give in him at all, a real dog of a man.
Tomorrow morning, I'll look for him at the Holiday Inn Riverside North, where we're both staying, and see if he can walk. And I will be shocked if he can. Just not because he's not tough, but because the body won't do it tomorrow.
Tries to close the distance. Van Steenis is trying to lock his hands to get the takedown, but good defense here by Rodriguez.
Pulling up on the right side. Rodriguez either wants Van Steenis' head all the way up or all the way down.
Yep.
And he's keeping it up.
Now Van Steenis got his hands closed and he's got the takedown.
So he's got a minute and a half to get the back and choke him or get on top and elbow him.
And we'll see, Rodriguez is a tough man with little give in him, so we'll see if he can hold off Van Steenis in this position.
He's trying to get over Rodriguez a little more so he can set something up, but Rodriguez is defending pretty well.
Very well, yeah.
Keeping his back up against the fence.
Two underhooks now, and a butterfly hook somewhere down in there.
Yeah. See what he can do with these butterflies. Van Steenis has got a good posture, though. It's going to be hard for Rodriguez to sweep him over here.
Yes. But it'll be easier, quote, for Van Steenis to separate an elbow. The ref is asking for action, but there's no hitting, but there is action. This is fighting. There's definitely action.
It's tiny steps now and then. It's almost impossible to see when someone is going forward into a better position, but Van Steenis is doing that.
Yeah, and he
looks like he's almost in half guard there.
Yeah, he's having I mean, you got to fight for every inch with Hyram. Hyram's super deceptive. He's super deceptive. He's a very dangerous fighter, and Van Steenis has done extremely well to intelligently win most minutes of this fight and presumably the fight, but Hyram is a tough one to finish, man.
Yeah, he really is. He showed it against Myrtle Groenhart, and he's shown it again tonight, even though he's most likely lost this decision. You know, he's shown nothing but heart and technical skill there on the ground, not to be overwhelmed, just to defend himself in that. So, Stefan, how do you view that fight? Obviously, Van Steenis won, but did he show enough for you?
Very good methodical performance. He showed his skill set. I would have loved to see him try a little harder to finish Rodriguez. Especially because he's so highly touted, and we want to see him, you know, grow into Bellator, grow into the UFC. But in my opinion, then you really want to take someone like Rodriguez out, even when it's so hard. I think Van Steenis was okay, a little too okay with just cruising to an easy victory like this.
Yeah, it was Van Steenis' fourth professional fight, Rodriguez's 53rd. So, you know, maybe there's something in there about, like, you know, Rodriguez's ability to take damage, weather the storm, know he can get through and you know, be confident in his skills.
No, 100%. That, you know, it's crazy when you say that to me. He's got 53 fights, he's got 4 fights, but it's he's such a tough fighter.
Yeah, a man who will step into the cage with anyone at any time. And we can see just through these highlights here, a lot of Van Steenis attacking that front right leg of Rodriguez, and then we see the takedown that ended the fight.
Just to put a stamp on it.
Yeah, just to make sure in the judge's mind there should be no doubts whatsoever about who was victorious. And we're going to go and get the official fight announcement right now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of 3 minutes, we've counted the points. Of 5 minutes, of course. 3 rounds of 5 minutes. We've counted the points, and we have a winner. And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, of this fight is the man in the red corner, Gino.
I'm here with Gino Van Steenis. Hyram, thanks for another great fight. Let these guys get a picture together. They just shared 15 good minutes in here. Cheers. That man has 50-odd fights. He fought Bertel Grunhard and put his sandwich down and fought him in 1 hour. And then took the fight against you at last minute. He's extremely tough to finish.
He's a gangster. Yeah, man. He's just the OG.
When you get a chance to do 15 minutes with a guy with 50 fights, you get better as a fighter.
That's true. Learned a lot of this experience. I'm not happy with my performance because I want to finish the fight. It was not the perfect training camp that I had. It was a lot of things, a lot in my head. No, I used to fight against Aquaman. He got scared 2 weeks before, then I got stressed. I got 10 names, 10 opponents. I accept them all, that 10 opponents didn't accept me. So, yeah, he's just a gangster because he's the only person who wants to fight me.
Yeah, it's true, man. I wouldn't want to fight you. But when you think about it, there's so much going on in the mind of a young martial artist that people just do not see. And then you're out here winning this fight clean, but to just find that, turn it up enough to finish it, that's tough to do.
Yeah, that's why I'm not happy with my performance. But that's why the next time I want to show all the people who the real Gino Van Steenis is, and he's going to end all the fights.
Well, Gino, you're a great young fighter. You're getting better every fight. You got a ton of experience against a guy with 50 fights. I hope you are proud of this performance.
Yeah, of course I'm proud, but I can't better, so we have to work. We're going to work with all my team, and we're going to get better every day.
That's the attitude of a great martial artist. Thank you for a wonderful fight. Gino Van Steenis, ladies and gentlemen.